online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akaman. Now, let the buzz begin!
Wow.
I missed this song. Let's just listen to it for a moment. All right. What's up, boys and girls, cowboys and cowgirls? That is. I'm AJ Gibson, joined as always by Dorinda Barker and Kellie Olisky. This is Dallas, season 3, episode 9. Denial, anger, and acceptance. Is that right? Kind of.
That's right.
Close enough.
Denial, anger, and acceptance. Or if you ask one of us,
all three of us wrote down different titles.
Yeah.
I wrote down denial, danger, acceptance,
yeah, exactly.
which is also a good title, I think.
Yes.
What did you have?
I had denial, danger, acceptance. You had what?
Danger, anger, acceptance.
You weren't even close. All right. All roads lead to acceptance, apparently. So, it's been a while. We've been gone for a few months.
I know.
I'm sounding a little raspy right now. I think my voice sounds pretty masculine like this. I should get a sore throat more often.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think, ladies? No?
I like it.
Why do I have a black mug tonight?
Bring it.
How did that happen? Why don't I have a yellow mug?
Oh, why you always have to stand out. Always
Go
have
away
to
for a
be
few months.
different.
They give me a black mug. All right, whatever. Let's dig right in. So, as the first half of the season ends and then the second half picks up, we are at the South Fork Ranch. There is a fire going on, right? And we open with Bobby and Christopher kind of coming out of a fog, a haze, and they decide to run around the house and frantically try to save everyone. Of course. They find Bo. And they do what happens in every major fire scene. They pick off some sort of like wall off of him, and they get him out of the house. And then they go back in. Bobby goes back in, grabs Sue Ellen, and gets her out of the house safely. As this is happening, while this is going on at South Fork, don't forget of the little menage a trois / suicide attempt going on at the Omni Hotel or wherever it is. I just assume it's the Omni because that's the one that's in the intro.
Yeah.
John Ross, Emma, and Pamela are about to get it on in the matching green lingerie from the first half of the season, which we love so much, which both ladies rocked. And
They did look both phenomenal in that.
yeah, they did. They really did.
I'm gonna give props where props are due.
I mean, Emma's a little skankier, just because she's a skank.
It is
but
like when you put them side by side, they both look fantastic, but one does look classier than the other.
it sure does. Emma looks like
the same outfit.
Emma looks like a hoe. She looks like a hoe. I love you, Emma. How are you? Come back and see us. So the paramedics are called. She's lying on the ground convulsing. John Ross gets her to spit up some gross stuff.
Yeah.
And her lips are white. That was freaky.
He's
that was
freaking out. Emma's just in shock, standing in the background. Just can't believe what's going on.
In her slut gear.
Yep, and her like, I mean, what do you think can you imagine, like, the paramedics walk in, these two chicks are dressed the same in lingerie. One of them's, like, half dead on the floor. Like, that's just nuts.
I mean, if it were West Hollywood, that might just be like a Tuesday night. But in Dallas, I don't know if they're used to that down there.
That's just
How do they roll in Dallas?
apparently like that.
Ay, ay, ay.
Just like that.
So the paramedics asking all the kinds of questions to John Ross to try to figure out how to help Pamela, right? And and none of them. He's just getting mad about every question. Then he says, "Does she have any previous suicide attempts?" And that really kind of upset John Ross, and it upset Emma as well. She's standing in the corner, like holding her stomach, like, "Oh my God, what do I do now?" But my question was, has she attempted suicide in the past? Did I miss something, or was it just hitting him at that moment that she had attempted suicide?
I think it was just hitting him.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Because
what
Emma pointed out the
happened
pill
in
bottle,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So, but first season, didn't she do something crazy town?
I mean, she does something crazy town every season.
Yeah, but this is
That's why we love her.
Yeah.
Well, she murdered somebody season 1, remember?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then cleaned up with a mop and a
But
bucket
I
of
don't
Clorox.
think there's ever been a suicide attempt. I mean,
yeah,
you guys
no.
can
Yeah.
comment and let us know if we're wrong. But I was thinking the same thing, and I was going back through previous seasons, and I don't remember. off the top of my head there being one. But
Yeah, we have our phones next to us, so please tweet us.
Yeah, so I was
Underscore AJ Gibson. She's Kellie Olisky, I think.
No. Kellie 079.
Kellie 079. I forgot. How did I forget that? And Dorinda didn't bring her phone, so don't tweet her out.
Sorry.
All right. It's so good to be on a podcast right now and just be able to curse like that. I haven't been able to do that so long. Let's move on. So we've got Trevino, who actually, I really quickly want to talk about this. I actually had the pleasure of interviewing Juan Pablo de Pache, who plays Nicholas Trevino. I do a little show on Fox TV called Hollywood Stay Live. Please tune in. But he was our guest the other day, and he says that there's a lot of really dicey stuff coming up in the second half of the season. And I asked him, first and foremost, my number one concern, besides Victoria Principal, obviously.
Obviously.
Anybody who listens to this podcast will know that reference. I asked about Sue Ellen, and if she's gonna be boozing, and he just grinned and started laughing. He's like, all right, just get ready for that. And he said also Brenda Strong.
Oh, I can't wait.
And Ewing has some good stuff coming up because she's really been underutilized, I feel like.
Yeah, she was on the back burner the first half of the season, so I'm really excited to see what they're going to bring in for her because she's so great at what she is. You have to utilize her.
I love that South Fork just burned to the ground and used a back burner reference. It seems so inappropriate. Well done.
Well, even when... Excuse me as I choke. Even when Emma Bell was here,
you get a drink of water out of your yellow mug.
She had said that Anne had some really great stuff coming up, and she was, she didn't give us many details, but I'm just excited to see where they go.
Yeah, because they wrapped filming for the entire season a while ago, but then they just went on hiatus for a few months and made us wait. I don't like it. All right, so Trevino and Elena, they're lying in bed together. And
real quick, before we even go, I just want to talk on the way they shot both scenes and how they were going back and forth. I loved that.
I love everything about this show.
Yeah,
I thought it was beautiful. Yeah,
because it was very poetic in its own way of watching destruction on both ends, and how it was just fitting, even though one was a fire and the other one tried to do herself in, but it worked so well. And I wanted just to say, there's been some amazing shots on this show, all throughout the season. So whoever does
the rare dove in the cage, that was a great shot. Remember that one? All right, we'll let that one slide. We'll give you a 1, Dallas. No, it reminds me of the explosion on the oil rig out in the water a couple of seasons or two ago. Yeah. Another really beautifully done scene. Yeah. They're really great at these sort of epic, over-the-top, disastrous, sort of tragic scenes that they do. They're so great at them.
Yeah, they do a great job. Kudos, guys.
I love that you pointed that out. I love you. I missed you so much. I missed you too, Kellie, but mostly Dorinda. Just kidding.
Fine.
All right, so Trevino and Elena, they're in bed, and
I'm Emma.
As they're ready to get it on again, go for round 2 apparently.
Which grosses me out every time.
Yeah, a little bit. That is a little bit. Didn't they think they were brother and sister for like their childhood?
Right.
And now they're banging.
You know, the little boy from the streets.
Yeah, she saved him. Now she's trying to get impregnated by him. So she's getting phone calls. Elena is getting phone calls from her mom. And then finally she answers, and her mom tells her that there's a fire at South Fork. She freaks out, rushes out to the hospital, and Trevino's laying in bed, like, just chilling, like, why are you running out?
Where are you going?
Well, there's a fire. And she doesn't know who's involved yet. She knows her mom's okay, but she doesn't know where Drew is at this point. Drew could be there. She could have started it. That's a concern of hers. So she heads to the hospital. At the hospital, Bobby and Christopher, they're together, and all of a sudden Pamela rolls by them on a gurney. So they don't know that anything's going on with her until that moment.
Yeah.
When they see her in the classier version of the green lingerie. Yes? We've decided?
Yes, the classier version.
Yeah. John
the Grace
Ross.
Kelly.
Yes, the Grace Kelly. What would be the sluttier version? Who would that be? Come on, think about it. Anybody? Get back to me. We'll put up the hashtag for it. Slutty green lingerie. We'll just call it the Emma. Hashtag Emma. Emma Bell. So she goes by on the gurney. John Ross and Emma don't. John Ross and Emma don't know about the video because who made the comment? Was it Bobby?
Bobby.
Yes.
Bobby made the comment about why would you send that video to her? And the look in both their eyes was they had no clue what he was talking about.
Yeah, utter shock.
Yeah.
And he automatically thinks it was Emma that did it.
Yeah.
And she's trying to defend herself.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, honest, she's the easiest suspect.
And she's also the easiest, apparently. I mean,
Touché.
hey.
Well, and from the first part of the season, he was trying to break things off with her, but she kept throwing in the business stuff, and they went hand in hand.
Yeah.
So he was even a little reluctant to go and be with her, and then of this kind of.
I think you bring up
spun
a
out of
great
control.
point, Kellie Olisky, Kellio79. I think, is that right? Did I get it
Yes,
right? Good.
yes.
Tweet her. I think you bring up a great point. I want to talk about that for just a moment. What is it about John Ross that draws him to these psychotic women? Because they're both nuts in completely different ways. I mean, Emma was popping pills and on all kinds of drugs. Pamela murdered somebody, cleaned it up with some Clorox, and just moved on with her life after losing 2 children, and it didn't seem to faze her for more than like 2 episodes.
Have you met his mother?
Well, yeah. But see, his mom's a good person, though, but she's crazy.
Yeah, she's crazy, but she was crazy in the earlier days. Like, she got her stuff together.
Yeah.
But, like, think Sue Ellen, alcoholic Sue Ellen, walking the streets of Dallas, drinking out of a bottle, liquor out of a bag from a bum.
Oh my God, you just described my perfect episode. I wish there would be like an entire episode of just that. Just her
That
walking.
did happen.
Walking, well, again, not in the 80s, now.
I thought we were going to have that tonight.
No, yeah.
With the guests, I was like, oh my God, they're going to go there. They're going to do it. Yes.
We had
Oh my
glimpses
God.
of it when she was walking around the gift shop in her robe.
Yeah, and
Oh.
she was about to chug some.
We're not there.
aftershave.
We're not there yet. I've got some tweets I want to read about that one.
Yeah.
The cast was live tweeting all night, so I've got a couple of those I want to share in a
Oh,
little
awesome.
bit. But back to John Ross and Emma, though, I just wrote down, that's what you get. That's what you get when you treat people the way they treated people.
Yeah.
You know, they're in a crap situation now, but it is what it is. And how do they get out of it? I don't know. And John Ross, it looks like at this point, he's starting to look at Emma differently already. Because when he left the hotel where the 3 of them were having a little suicidal menage a trois, that's a thing, apparently.
Hashtag.
Yeah. And when he left her there.
Didn't even look back. Didn't nothing. Just
So,
left.
That's always telling.
oh, but you think, Dorinda? Has this happened to you before? Our little sleuth over here. Well, the man that's cheating on his wife with you leaves after his wife tries to commit suicide. He goes to the hospital and leaves you in a green slutty lingerie without saying a word to you.
But then
Well-
you
He
probably
follow
doesn't-
him.
yeah.
He probably doesn't love you.
He probably doesn't love you. 9 times out of 10.
But I think this situation, though, for me, just watching John Ross deal with it and come to the realization that he did this and really kind of taking a step back and looking at it.
Okay, but do you think, though, because let's John Ross is a mini JR. JR, there were plenty of moments throughout the years where JR, it seemed like, okay, finally he gets it. He gets how awful he's been to somebody. He feels bad for hurting Sue Ellen. He feels bad for hurting his brother. He feels bad for something. And in a moment, it seems like he's going to make a change, but he never really did until he died off. Killed off the show.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, is there, and this is the topic that maybe we should wait a little bit on, but just put this in the back of your minds, is John Ross really capable of loving and being a good guy?
And that's the thing. And I love the fact that he even asked the same question out loud. Like, he says it himself.
Yeah.
You've known me for, talking to Elena. You know me better than anyone. Am I even capable of that? And you notice how she didn't even answer the question.
Because I don't think she can. I don't think she can. I don't think he can either. I don't think anybody can.
No.
None of us. 3 expert panelists here. We can't even answer it.
I am gonna say, with that being said, at least he asked the question. His father would never ask that question.
Oh, he wouldn't want to know.
That he didn't want, but he wants to know, which leads me to believe that he has some kind of a heart, and he has.
Well, and
some
I think
ways
the
that he wants.
struggle that he about not wanting to be his father, and even like the fight that he had with Sue Ellen, I'm not my father. He's struggling so hard to not be him. He's just being exactly like him.
And
Yeah.
the moment where I won't bring it up yet. I'll wait just a moment
Okay.
so we don't get too out of order. But I do want to come back to that. Let's move on to Judith and Ryland. Judith is my favorite character in the history of television. I love how she
not
brings
mother's milk.
Yes, but it's milk from your mother is what she says. That she gives her son a glass of milk.
Anyone
So
go,
creepy.
"Oh," but it was amazed and creeped out at the same time. I don't think I've ever had that feeling in my life before, and that was the first time.
Well, when I
Thank you,
interviewed
Judith Lake.
when I interviewed Juan Pablo the other day, I asked him about the scene where she took the cocaine and rubbed it all over her gums. I said, "Mama like," and he's like, "You have no idea." When everybody read that line, because they do a table read, and that's when they all find out about what's going to happen in each episode, and it's very hush hush up to that point, just picking a hair off of that. Okay, nice, not mine. But he said when we saw that line, and then when we saw her actually do it, he's like, everybody was going nuts. So this is another one of those moments I feel like. It's not quite the mama like, but it's not mother's milk, but it's milk from your mother. That's just creepy.
It was just like,
Oh, yeah. I love her so much.
she can pull it off.
No,
because
she's
she is
fantastic.
Judith Light.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh,
But I just keep thinking of her as from the 80s.
Tony
the-
Danza,
who's the
Angela.
boss?
Angela, yeah.
Who's the boss? Well, she is who's the boss, but not that kind of
She's a
boss.
different kind of boss.
Oh, she's a madam boss.
I like this kind
She
of boss.
just, yeah.
She also calls Ryland a lovesick puppy. She tells him that she saw him kiss Anne.
As he's sitting there staring at this old picture of Anne.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
then
not
she-
the best picture I've ever seen of Anne.
That was probably the only one he has.
it
Judith probably
could be.
burned them all.
Yeah, you got a point there.
That is a very valid point.
Yeah.
Kelly 079. But then he says, she makes a comment about going and being with that whore or something. And he says, basically, Mom, if I wanted to be with a whore, I would just stay at home. And the look is, she looks sad. She looked actually genuinely hurt by that comment.
No, he said, if I wanted pain from a whore, I would stay home.
Yeah. Pain
I would
from a-
stay at home.
It was a good burn.
It was a good burn.
I was like, good, go for yours. At least somebody else got a great line.
Yeah, that was a great line. There were some
And
good ones.
Mitch Pileggi
tonight.
pulls that off.
They both like their
They're
chemistry
so
together
good.
is so good and creepy
It's
and
so,
scary. all at
flowers
the
in
same
the
time.
attic, great.
Oh,
Totally. Like, I keep expecting like a weird, obscure sex scene between the two of them. And it's his mom.
Exactly.
well, I mean, it got kind of creepy where she was like, every time you couldn't sleep, you wouldn't sleep until I brought you my breast, and then there we go to the whole milk thing. It's like, really?
That is so weird. This show is really highbrow, you guys. We bring you details you never knew you never wanted.
Nothing but the best here at AFTERBUZZ.
Exactly.
So let's go back to Elena. She gets caught up by Christopher at the hospital, and he tells her everything's going down. They kind of reconnect and have a moment. They kind of hug. What I liked about this episode, and this is the first time I really started to notice it, is that they kept switching up the interactions between everybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just Christopher and Elena, and then it's just John Ross and Pamela and whatever, but they're really blending all the storylines very quickly in the second half of the season, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, everybody got couples time.
Dallas is
Switched
at
around,
its
yeah.
very best when all the storylines are intertwined perfectly.
Yes, I
So,
agree with that.
I'm
Using
glad
the
to see them,
hospital as
for sure.
the epicenter was perfect.
Yeah. That's never been done before in any type of soap opera,
Ever.
daytime or nighttime.
Ever.
Just kidding. But Heather doesn't believe. Christopher thinks that Bo started the fire. Heather's like, I don't think so. Unless he tells me himself he did started the fire, I don't think he actually did. And John Ross, quote, can't deal with Emma. Can't deal. I can't deal with you right now is what he says to her. And she's still just like flailing around trying to find somebody to console her, to be there, whatever.
Why is she there?
Yeah.
Why
still-
are you there?
I can't get over the fact that she doesn't see that she did anything wrong.
No, she does. I think she does. Don't you?
No, because when Anne went and confronted her and she said, it's not fair. I didn't shove the pills down her throat.
you're
I didn't
right.
make John Ross sleep with me. Like, she doesn't take responsibility for her
Yeah.
part of it. At least with John Ross, no matter what happens now, he's acknowledging the fact that what he did was wrong.
Okay, but
Affluenza.
just because somebody says, okay, this is a pet peeve of mine. People always, you have an argument with a friend or a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, and they're like, I'm wrong, I know I did wrong, I'm so sorry, and they apologize for it. Sometimes when people accept that they did something wrong so quickly, it's not really genuine. So with John Ross always saying, I messed up, I'm sorry. Well, you keep doing it, but then you keep saying you're sorry. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything if you keep acknowledging that you mess up and just say you're sorry and move on.
Right, which is
However,
what Bobby was telling him. But
Yeah.
I think this time it's a little bit
well,
different.
with Emma, though, maybe she just doesn't get it yet. And maybe it's because she's a child. Maybe it's because she had a psychotic grandmother / mother / whatever
Well, who's
and a father.
now going to coming back and telling her,
Yeah.
to
She ne-
harness that.
You know what? Emma, she never had a chance.
No.
She didn't.
Like I just said, affluenza.
What are you talking about? Wait, why do you bring up affluenza? Why do you keep saying affluenza? I don't get the joke.
Thank you, Kelly.
You get it? Is this a plot from the movie Affluenza? I don't understand. Why are you referencing?
She's rich and privileged and sheltered and has been told that she can do anything she wants. So when and she's never had to take full responsibility for anything.
Whoa.
And
Wait, my mind is blown. Is that what affluenza means?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because there was a movie called Affluenza.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
interviewed somebody from it a few months ago, and I can't remember who it was though. No, it was Steve Gutenberg. I think he's an affluenza. No, that might be crazy. I might have made that up. Somebody, though. I interviewed somebody from the film
No,
Affluenza.
Steve Guttenberg is in that movie.
Yes. Okay.
He
good.
is in that movie.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Ding, ding, ding. I had no idea what it meant, though.
Yeah, so it's like the affluent lifestyle, basically.
Yeah.
Like having,
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a really bad stomach flu. Well, you win some, you lose some, AJ. All right. So Anne finally comes strolling in after her little late night rendezvous with Ryland.
You mean go to get groceries?
Yeah, that's what she tells. That's what she
Why
tells
does
Bobby.
she continue to lie?
Okay,
Tell
I'm
the
going.
truth,
Nope.
and
The truth shall set you free.
I'm going to defend Anne here.
okay.
Partially because I love her. But in that moment, while she sees Bobby's face is cut up and dirt all over him and people are dying all over the hospital and everything's chaotic, do you really think that's the time to be like, oh, I was over at Ryland's? Do you think that's really the time to bring it up? Or if you love someone, you love your partner, you shield them from that at that moment. and have
No,
the
if you
conversation
love
like,
somebody, you don't lie.
Nope, I don't believe that.
No, you do not lie. And not especially about something like that. Because remember from the last season, he told her to tell Ryland this is now his responsibility. I want Emma out of my house. So she was doing what he asked.
If he was sitting at home in his study, like going over some documents, and she came home, then she should tell him right away. In this scenario, when all this chaos is going on and people's lives are hanging in the balance, I think it would be selfish of her to tell him that.
I completely
to throw
disagree.
that on top of everything else that's already going down. I feel like that's a moment where she was like,
When it rains, it pours. Bring it all on. Get
Oh,
over
no.
everything altogether. Because now look at what happened. Because of that, now instead of looking at her and being all in love, all he's thinking about is what's she lying to me about now. Can I believe anything
I don't
that
think
comes
she
out of her
expected
mouth?
Judith to come strolling in and ruining her, you know.
Well, that's true, but
Well.
it always happens in threes. You would have got the threes over right away.
Yeah. Lying people. Oh, you always get caught.
What do you
Always
think,
get caught.
Dorinda? You think there's in that moment? Do you think it was okay for her to hold back that information for a little bit, or no?
I'm torn.
Yeah.
I'm actually torn because I see your point of view and I see your point of view. Because at the time, there's so much going on, and you're like, "Am I really gonna tell you exactly where I was?"
But that's always the excuse. It's always the excuse, and then it comes back later.
But then,
It's 10 times worse.
then it goes into.
I mean, no, she didn't have to talk about the makeout session, but she could have said,
Okay,
I
but
went to
ladies,
go talk about Emma.
Ladies, I want to be really clear. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I'm the only one with a solo shot. I'm the one with the one shot, so I guess my vote trumps all. So let's move on. No, I see what you're
Whatever.
saying. I see what you're saying.
Hashtag AJ's wrong.
Hashtag AJ is never wrong. Okay, so she strolls in. She goes over to Emma when she figures out what happened. Tells Emma to move out. And poor Emma is all alone. And not so poor Emma. Ay, ay, ay. Then Trevino tells Elena he'll protect Drew, but doesn't tell her that he has him. What's up with that? Like, if you're going to protect the guy, was he ever planning on really protecting him? Let's not go there yet. But do we think at this point he was planning on actually protecting Drew?
I think a little bit, only because you know what? Let's wait until we get to the end, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
I will just say now that I think that if he could protect Drew, he wanted to at that point. It was not his primary goal, though. It was not his number one concern.
Well, I don't think he ever could have.
Yeah.
So I think maybe in a perfect situation, yes, he would have wanted to. Probably for Elena more so than just for Drew.
Yeah.
But he's got to look out for himself.
Yeah, good call. Good
So,
call. Let's move on to my
That's
favorite
600
character,
million.
Sue Ellen. She wants booze in her hospital bed. She pours a glass of water for herself, and she's thinking about bourbon and vodka and
She's having
gin.
flashbacks
and
to
she
the
sure is.
night of the fire.
Speaking of, I'm going to have a little sip of my JR bourbon. Just kidding, it's water. All right. She is intoxicated still, or coming off of her whatever. The nurse comes in and she tells her that she can't leave yet. And Sue Ellen's like, why? I was just, I had some smoke inhalation. I'm fine. She's like, well, you were intoxicated. So you're going to stay here for a little while. And Sue Ellen starts to get a little bit feisty with her. And then Bobby walks in. Of course, Sue Ellen's like, oh, thank you. You can leave now, to the nurse or the doctor, whoever it was.
Yeah, the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor. Because she offered her help and she refused it. And Sue Ellen is doing what Sue Ellen does. She's being a mean drunk. God love her. God love her.
Well, and the flashbacks, I think I loved them. Like the fogginess and the way they went back, and you could barely see. It's just where you were kind of inside her mind as she was thinking of them, which I thought was really great. Because normally you have a flashback and it's simply just like a fresh scene, and this was so grainy. And
I feel like
thought it was
about the
really
last
nice.
35 years of her life, that's how she's seen the world. Like much of it. Blurry and sort of like wobbly and Whatever.
Well, and then we got to see the world
Yeah.
through Sue Ellen eyes.
Again, thank you, Dallas. We love you. So Bobby tells her about Pamela's overdose, and then Sue Ellen is getting bits and pieces of her memory back, and it's not really adding up at this point. Like what went down doesn't make any sense. We thought that she was upstairs, which is why we didn't think she started the fire.
Yeah, because I always thought she was upstairs.
But apparently she wanted a ham sandwich or something. She got hungry and maybe came downstairs. But John Ross comes in though. That's not revealed yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. But John Ross comes in to check in on her, and she yells at him and says, "Get out." So now John Ross is getting a little bit of what Emma already got from him. He's getting it from his mom now. Everybody's mad at everybody.
And she's still mad at him for what he did to her.
For having her committed.
Yeah. They haven't spoken since then. Am I correct?
Not that I know.
I don't think so.
Not really.
Yeah, because they brought her home.
That's right. Bobby and Ann did.
Yeah, and it's like the first night she's home, she's wasted, started, like passing out
She's
drunk.
having a party of one.
Having a party of one.
Party of one.
Ay, ay, ay. We've never heard this story before. Lindsay Lohan. Okay, so we love you. Then John Ross and Emma goes to John Ross, tries to talk to him, tries to smooth things over. He looks at her, says, the first rule of cheating is when the wife finds out, it's done. I have an issue with this statement. I think the first rule of cheating is don't cheat. Like the first rule of marriage, like you have a wife. Why are you trying to sleep with skanky Emma, who we love here at the show? However, she's a skank.
It's business. It's just business.
That's what she keeps saying. It's just business. Listen, you keep trying to make it seem like it's just business, but everybody knows, and you even know it's not business.
Well, to her, it's not. She's using that as an excuse to force him into her bed when he really is just thinking it's business.
I just noticed all of a sudden that I have you both have bluish colored shirts on, and I have both colors of your blue in my shirt right now.
Matchy match.
Look at that.
This is synergy. Synergy at its best.
I like it. And the pink bow tie.
Well, I gotta rock the bow tie.
Exactly.
Bangs and bow ties. I love it. All right, I miss you girls. Then we find out Trevino is now dealing with the guy whose name we never know.
No, but it's
long, slick hair.
Mexican cartel?
Yeah.
Mendez Ochoa cartel.
Oh yeah, okay. And we find out that UN Global is a necessary part. Well, we already kind of knew this, but it's a necessary element to the takeover of the Mexican government.
Well, that part I didn't know.
The whole government? I didn't know that part either.
I was like, whoa, that's really.
I thought they had talked about that before. That was the whole plan, was to take down for the cartel to take over the government in Mexico,
Okay.
And that's where all the money is coming, the funding is coming from.
Talk about big dreams.
Yeah, why not?
Well,
because the Mexican government
Go
is
big or
known
go
for being
home.
so reliable and self-sufficient. Just kidding, all of our Mexican listeners and viewers out there, we love you. Thank you for tuning in. Really quickly, just take this opportunity to say, you guys, we love to get on our iTunes and on YouTube and to read your comments and to comment back. So if you get a moment, please get on iTunes, rate us high, give us as many stars as you care to in your heart. We appreciate them. Leave us comments. We will comment back. Also, tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone to tune in to listen to us. You can also listen to us on your iPhone, on podcast. It's an app on your iPhone you can use to listen to us whenever you want.
Oh, AfterBuzz actually has a...
No, well, I haven't been here for a few months, and now AfterBuzz TV has an app that you can get as well.
Yeah, AfterBuzz TV does have an app now.
So there you have it. So you can listen to us. You can listen to us while you're at the gym.
Yeah. Amazing. And
you
please
can listen
make
to this
sure
voice.
to use the hashtag DallasABTV so we can read all of your comments and pull them from Twitter and all the other social media channels.
Well done, Kellie 79.
Oh, and you know what else you can do with this
What else,
app?
Dorinda Parker? Please tell us.
If you listen to us and you hit star, you don't even have to look through all the shows. It will just pop as one of your favorites.
It's amazing. I've been out of the game for a while. I had no idea any of these things. I still have a Hotmail account, in case you're curious about that.
At least it's not Yahoo.
Yeah. So Judith is at the hospital. She shows up
to pick up Emma because Emma has nowhere else to go.
Thank you.
So she calls Scary Grandma to come and rescue her.
Oh, that one.
And
Has
while she's
anyone
there,
ever heard of Uber or a black car or anything? She could have gotten her ass back to her grandma's house.
She's helpless. She needs hand holding.
affluenza. Yes, exactly. So Judith brings up the makeout session with Harris to Bobby. And Bobby's like, I will never believe anything you say. She goes, just ask your wife. And then
I like how she says, "You're blushing bride."
Yeah. And then what does she say on her way out? Did anybody write this one down?
Oh, I wrote what she said when she walked in. Apparently, your wife got tired of being a mother again.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yes.
that was pretty harsh. And then poor Emma looks like she's like regretting calling her grandmother. And then on her way out, though, she said something to Emma.
Said we better go. It looks like some bad words are about to
fly or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is another really great line. Bobby does turn around and looks at Anne, and she, of course, is... She's a lion. How?
I can explain. I have to explain. And they go around the corner.
And you know what? You need to stop explaining.
That's what I'm talking about. She should have been honest.
I'm on
See, you
your
just
side.
went on my side. Boom.
Again, I've got the one shot. I win again.
What side are you guys on? Dallas #DallasABTV. Do you think Anne should continue to be a liar or just come clean and tell the truth as soon as shit goes down?
Okay, you can't word it that way. Let me ask then. Hey, use #DallasABTV. Do we think that sometimes it's okay if you love somebody enough to wait for the proper timing, not when their entire family's in a hospital dying, to bring up something like this?
Either you're a liar or you're not.
Let us know what you think, you heartless fans out there, or heartfelt fans. It could go either way, really. So,
I do love our fans.
Apparently.
I love our fans.
You know what I miss? You know what I missed on hiatus? I'm gonna let y'all know. I missed the little YouTube clips that we would get sent.
Yes.
I really missed all of those things.
you know what I love about we've been on hiatus for a while, and so many of our Dallas AfterBuzz TV fans follow me on Hollywood Today Live on Fox. They watch the show daily. Oliver, my show airs in Dallas. We're in 9 markets right now, and Dallas is one of them.
Amazing.
So a lot of our fans down there actually tweet me all the time about that show now, and then they come back to this, and they bounce back and forth. So they're really loyal. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Well, Joseph Franco just tweeted and said that he thinks John Ross justifying infidelity as business is exactly what JR would have done.
absolutely.
well,
I need to. Okay,
100%.
I need to find this one tweet I just saved a little bit ago. I'll get to it in just a moment. Oh, no. I'll get to it. And it is here. Nope. Oh, wait, we're almost there. We're almost to it, so I'll wait for it. So let's move on. Bobby and John Ross, they're at South Fork. John Ross says he told himself it was all business, like you said. Bobby tells him that his words are cheap and says, quote, "You want to be a better man? Be one." Amen.
Love
Yes.
it. Love
Most
it.
on-point line of the entire episode.
Yes.
Just do
You want
it.
somebody to trust you? Don't lie.
Yeah.
And that's the best father that Bobby could be to him at the time.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me you want to do all these things because Bobby's there for him and always stands up for him when it's warranted.
Yeah.
But he's always the first to show him his ways too, of his wicked ways. This was perfect.
Bobby's very balanced and fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
him.
and he loves his nephew.
Now we bounce back to the hospital where Heather's son comes over and thanks Christopher for saving Daddy. The nurse or the doctor comes out and says, quote, I love this quote, "We rebuilt his spinal column to give him a solid foundation." You don't say. Obviously, like it's like we fixed his spinal column, so he'll have a better. Like, of course he will. That's what your spinal column is. Like, it's such a nonchalant sort of like throwaway statement too. Like, no big deal. We rebuilt his spinal column. Like,
Can he walk again? We don't know.
We don't
Still
know yet,
too
but he has a
early.
solid foundation.
We put it back together again.
I
it
wrote
was a
down.
Tin Man or
I wrote
something.
down at this point, Christopher unsure about Bo, because Christopher and Bo have this weird relationship. But Christopher's also a little bit empathetic to what Bo goes through and how it must be hard for Bo to see him with his kid and his ex-wife or whatever.
But I think he's a little bit more. I think he does that and steps back a little bit more for the child's sake. Because
Yeah.
when
He
Heather
only
first
did-
came,
yeah.
when she said, "I'm going to have to go tell this little boy that his dad is a monster."
Well, I think also Christopher's very aware after losing his own 2 children, #dead babies. Remember that one?
We're bringing it back.
Bring that one back. After that, he wants a family really badly, but he also sees how important this is to Heather and how close that bond she has with their son is, and also the son does have a bond with his dad, and Christopher's not willing to like step because Christopher also remember he's got a pretty sordid childhood anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, he
And
disappeared.
I like that about him, that he was able to put his anger aside and his judgments, and
Yeah.
he was able to take a step back and be.
Because Christopher's
little
not a
bit
real
nicer.
Ewing, technically.
I'm
yeah, I know. It's like if we
happy
have to
they
hear one more
stopped
time.
using
Yeah.
that.
He was adopted. He was
Oh,
adopted.
just remember the cattle being born? That was like overusage
episode.
of it. Oh.
That was a terrible episode. All right. So Emma's back at home. She's sad. Judith says, she's talking about Emma's saying to Judith basically, you think I'm weak, you think I'm all these things, and I'm whatever. And Judith says to her, the ability to feel pain is a gift. And then she goes on explaining how she needs to use it to turn it into vengeance.
Yeah.
Which goes back to me in my statement about how she still doesn't think what she did was wrong. She feels wronged. So now she has to build up and get revenge against those who have wronged you.
Well, okay, so that's a fair statement.
Okay.
I guess the issue is she doesn't know that she's doing wrong, so therefore I don't hold her accountable as much as I would for somebody who is knowingly doing all these bad things. Does that make sense? Where
How do you not know you're doing something wrong when you're sleeping with a married man?
Well, when you're raised by two people who are that crazy, I don't know if she knows that she's doing wrong, or what. I don't know if she. It's not that I don't know that she knows what she's doing wrong. I don't know that she knows how to do it right.
Well, and I think she truly feels that she truly thinks she's in love with him.
Yeah.
And I think to her, well, obviously,
Well, she doesn't
to her,
know real love.
no, she doesn't.
Yeah.
But to her, she thinks that she's in love with him, and this is the way that she shows it, is by manipulating him to sleep with her.
Well, by all accounts, John Ross has that good stuff. So I mean, he's gotten some pretty lovely ladies over the years. So I can see why she might.
They've all gone psycho.
Yeah. Well, of course.
What was that, Marina?
Oh yeah. What was her name?
It started with an M.
The crazy sex tape one?
Oh, the one that fell out the window?
Yeah, the one who fell out the window. I think
Yes.
it's Marina.
Something like that.
Marta.
Marta, yes.
Crazy
Yeah.
Martha. Yeah. Well, Elena tells John Ross, because John Ross goes to Elena to have a real conversation. She tells him that she needs to go and apologize to Pamela. And which I thought was bigger for her, because she and Pamela aren't always best friends. And she and John Ross have obviously their issues
Well,
as
especially
well.
considering that she's partly the reason that this all happened.
Exactly. She reminds him every day is a new chance to do the right thing. She figures out Trevino sent the video, which was a big moment in the episode.
Yes.
Because he said something about, how did that come up? He mentioned something about Emma and I, this video.
Well, he said, at least I think Ryland did me a favor, because now I don't have to keep lying to Pamela.
That's right. And she's like, wait, how do you know Ryland? He's like, well, who else would have done it? And in that moment, she's like,
Yeah.
Trevino.
And she calls, and you need to call me back right now.
She
I
calls,
know you sent
she
that
calls him
video.
an SOB.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Ross is allowed to finally visit Pamela. He asks for another chance. He gives her the melted plastic ring for a second time, because I'm sure that will really win her over. A ring from a carnival. And
It was the ring in Vegas.
Or
When they
Vegas,
went and got
that's what it was,
married.
Vegas,
It's
you're right.
sentimental value.
Yeah.
To who?
Well, apparently nobody, because she tossed that right in the trash.
Oh, she did good.
Well, and then she looks at him. He goes, I know you're hurting right now. And she looks at him. She goes, what makes you think I'm hurt? She's crazy. She's going to bring back all kinds of crazy second half of the season.
Cold Pamela just came right back.
I love crazy Pamela. And I can never figure out if she actually is always crazy or if she actually is loving sometimes, because she goes back and forth.
Well, the revelation that she told him that she planned that whole thing out. If I wanted to kill myself, I would not have gone to your hotel room to do it. I wanted you to picture me like that every time you wanted to have sex with that piece of trash.
I love how
She's like sexy, huh? I mean, just cold and callous and just it's like that. I mean, for lack of a better word,
nuts.
that's just like
I was like, kudos,
crazy.
girl. You go. You
It's
kudos.
like
I mean, really?
it's like a TV
You
character
have to kill
version.
yourself to prove a point.
To teach Melissa. She probably Googled how many pills she could take and still live.
Exactly.
It's like a TV version of the Alanis Morissette song. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you know the one.
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
We're all
Dorinda.
joking.
Dorinda's
All choked up.
choking on pills over there. Per usual.
Lorazepam.
So let's get to, and this is the part where I did want to bring up what we were just talking about. It made me think of something I wanted to say earlier. Oh, the melted plastic ring. Did you notice that when John Ross got the ring box out of the burnt South Fork, at that moment, he was standing in between that, and did you see what was over to the other side of him?
No.
The cowboy hat, which I thought was JR's hat. That's how I took that. I interpreted that as that's JR's hat. And in that moment, I thought, my gut said, oh, he's going to grab JR's hat, and this is going to be a turning point for him. But instead of grabbing the hat, he grabbed the ring, which to me was, maybe I'm reading into this, but to me that meant he was choosing his relationship and choosing to be different from his dad and choosing to be a better man in that moment.
I love that.
And
That's
then
great. Great observation.
Yeah, but then he took that to her, and then she rejected it. Which, as a fan, though, what that allows is if he does go the JR route now, at least it gives, he tried. Now you're like, well, what's he supposed to do? You can understand it now as opposed to just being mean for the sake of being mean.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Or I just read
I
it
mean,
way
it's
too
going
much.
to take a little bit
but
more than a plastic ring. I mean, come on. He's going to have to work for it a little bit if he really wants to be different.
I think I also saw Victoria Principal like peeking around the corner at one point too. So I mean, I could be reading into a lot of things. So Sue Ellen is in a robe in a gift shop. I love the scene.
You're like, why is she in a department store?
She's having.
Guys, why is she in the department store? I forgot she was in a hospital there.
That's a pretty nice hospital gift shop.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It did look like a really nice department.
Bougie. It was bougie. She starts having more flashbacks. She tried to burn the wedding invitation, and then she realizes that she thinks she set off the fire, and she gets crazy eyes.
Which was great, by the way. That once again, the way they were doing that whole it was so good.
Well, she steals aftershave because she's looking for booze because she's now realizing that she may have done this, and she's trying to figure out a way out of it. And she steals the aftershave. And then she goes, finds Bob. Well, she throws the
Tom Hanks it. Like
she was. Oh my gosh, I want to read it. My phone is busy right now. It's full. Oh my gosh, I took pictures of the tweets that they were tweeting a little bit ago. Emma Bell, there's one that she wrote that was really, really funny about the aftershave. And I'm going to find it right now. So it's so important that I read this, you guys.
Well, luckily we didn't see her chug the aftershave, which I was so thankful that she decided against it.
Because that would have been up there with drinking with the bums.
I mean, terrible. But I liked that, and it was very surprising to me that she went straight to the family and confessed.
I was very proud of her.
That took a lot of...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Julie Gonzalo tweeted, trying to find alcohol in hashtag Aqua Velva aftershave. That's too far, Dallas TNT. And then Emma Bell follows up with, so Linda Gray started the fire and wants to get drunk on aftershave. Hashtag problems. I love that. Aqua Velva. Well done. Well played, Julie. But she doesn't, though. She throws it out. So she's trying.
Yeah.
That is the plight of her life. Or of any alcoholic, I think. You don't necessarily want to be that, but you are that. And she realizes it, and she even admits to the fire, and then she says, I'm an alcoholic and will be until the day I die.
That was heartbreaking.
I hope that's not foreshadowing. I don't like when they make a statement like that. Like, if they're going to kill her off this season or something, that makes me really nervous. I don't want it to happen.
No, because they need to have the legacy characters.
They do.
The show would be nothing without these on
the flip side, though, it could be a reason to bring back Victoria Principal. All right. So we go back to Bo. Bo says he went in to help. And then it makes me wonder if Christopher and Bo, is there a weird friendship going on, because Christopher's kind of looking at Bo a little bit differently. But then I'm also... when Bo and Heather and the child are all there together, and the child's like, you're going to come to the next rodeo, Mom, right? And she's like, oh, sure. I'm like, then I'm wondering, is Christopher seeing like this relationship slip away from him? Because oftentimes, people who you break up, you divorce, you whatever, especially if there's a kid involved, something tragic like this happens, it brings you back, at least temporarily, oftentimes.
Well, that's the way that I took it, that he was seeing the family back together and thinking he doesn't really fit. You know, then nobody was paying attention to him. He was the outcast.
Yeah.
So.
And Christopher would never in a million years break up a family.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not that way.
Yeah. And also I think it is a good opportunity to make him single again, so that at the end of the season, when Elena comes back to the good side, they'll be ready to get back together, because they will.
When they find out that was a forged document, and that never really happened.
Yeah, because the Ewings would never do that.
Not that they would never do that. It's just so... I don't think that's true.
It's a bit of a stretch.
It's a real big stretch.
And everything on...
And that means they would lose everything. And really, they're going to let the Ewings lose everything?
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Because they've never done a storyline similar to that ever in the history of Dallas.
Never. Never.
13 episode 10 to 15.
It's always so real. Let's go back to South Fork.
Really look that up.
South Fork is in shambles right now. This has me a little bit nervous, to be honest.
Yes.
I can't wait to see what they do with it next.
Yeah.
But
John Ross might get his atrium.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He has one now. There's like a hole in the wall. There's plenty of sun coming in. My question, though, is can't Bobby hire people to clean up the damn, like, literally, and one of you made a comment, you're like, oh, Bobby's such a man. Sure. But come on. You can afford an Uber for Emma. You can afford to have somebody come and clean up your burnt down house.
Which he does have, but I think it was more so that he is working out his frustration over the whole Rylan and Anne thing, and he needs to get his hands dirty. That's how he deals.
With this
He's
one.
not prissy. He doesn't need people to do it for him. He likes to get in there himself, just like a
Kellie.
man.
I love you. I love you.
Yep.
I also love the way your necklace is resting between your boobs tonight. It looks really great, Kellie. It's a really cute necklace on you. I like it a lot. Really classy. Anne apologizes once again to Bobby.
That one.
And I'm thinking that he's going to be like, because he seems like he's like, I know. But then he says that, you know, he doesn't know what she's keeping from him, what she's lying about anymore.
I mean, that was such a heartbreaking scene, I think, because to look at someone, and as much as he's in love with her, and he says, every time I would look at you, I would just think how lucky I am to be with you. And now every time I look at you, all I can think of is, what are you hiding from me?
Well, that's the thing about any sort of cheating.
That's the thing about lying.
Well, cheating, for me at least, I would say that I could get over the sexual stuff. I could get over that part of it. I could deal with that. It's what that represents. That's the hard thing to get over.
Because there's something lacking.
Yes, exactly. And once that is gone in a relationship, that trust beyond anything else, that ability to look at somebody and see only the good in them, once that is gone, it's so hard to ever get back. And you have to make yourself very vulnerable, and so do they, and you have to go through a lot of stuff to get back to that place. And I don't know that he's willing to get back to that place after 2 strikes.
And I wouldn't blame him if he didn't.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not completely anti-Anne. I mean, think about it. She's right. She couldn't, Rylan kissed her. She didn't necessarily stand there for a full-on makeout session. But one thing that Bobby did say is, no, you can't control what he does, but you can control what you tell me about it.
Yes.
You know?
And I think she kind of knew it was kind of going that way, because remember last season when they were talking outside the gates and it got a little,
That's a good point.
She kind of...
The thing is about cheating, it almost never, ever, ever, ever happens on the first encounter. You keep putting yourself in the position over and over again and push it a little bit further and talk a little bit more flirtatious and send a little bit dirty text message or whatever. You slowly, and you might say no, 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 but if your actions are saying yeah, 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 and you keep showing up like she did, she is as much at fault as he is.
Well, and it's worse when it's an emotional cheating.
Sure.
When you have that emotional attachment, because you're right. Something physical is a little. I mean, cheating is never easy to get over, but I think just if a one-night stand or something like that is a little bit easier to deal with.
And it's with a man who was abusive to you and stole your child and never let you raise your kid, and you go back to that.
A psychopathic mother will kill you at any moment.
At one point, they did love each other. They were married.
20 years ago.
Sometimes the feelings come back. Whatever.
So let's wrap this episode up with Drew. It turns out that he actually really did set the fire. Okay, he went in and put some stuff, sprayed some stuff on the wall, and put one of those air fresheners in there that my mom's always warning me that it will catch fire if I let it run out. So apparently, thanks mom for the heads up. Well done. And he really actually did start the fire. Trevino. Then he's told, Trevino looks at this as kind of a blessing. At least now they think it was her. You got to get out of jail free card for this. He warns Drew not to destroy the plan, because the plan is more important than Drew. He wants to save Drew also, maybe, but the plan is number one.
Right.
And he warns him not to destroy that. We see, Drew makes it very clear that Trevino is using Elena, which we already kind of knew. And then it gets a little bit. The end of this episode was rough.
Yeah,
Drew,
it was hard to watch.
Poor Drew. He's never gotten a fair shake in life.
No.
From losing his father as a child to being, just kind of like the black sheep of the family his entire life, and never quite, and going through the whole explosion on the oil rig and how he didn't. That was not his intention, and having to suffer through that. And then Trevino looks at him, says, "Give your father my love," which I thought was, for those to be the last words you hear. Knowing that your entire life's been driven by your hatred of a family that you think has stolen everything from your father, which may now actually be a lie. And for those to be the last words you hear before a gun is put to his head. And that scene was pretty...
Yeah.
I was expecting them to turn away and then just hear it, but it was like you saw the head kind of.
Yeah.
I was shocked by that. What I was also shocked by, even before he said, "Give your father my love," he's doing the eye thing. Trevino's doing the eye thing, like eyeing the guy that we can't remember his name, saying, "Just say." He's trying to give him that one last moment. Just say you'll let us carry out this plan. But Drew just is not getting it.
He's trying to throw him a line.
Well, but I think that he was right. I don't, even if it didn't happen in that room, those cartel guys weren't going to let him live with the possibility that they could ruin it.
Yeah.
That he could ruin that. I think he was right. He was like,
agree on
I
that.
was dead as soon as I walked in.
Well, his life is not worth more than the $600 million they've invested and worth more than this plan to take over the government. I mean, his life's just not worth more than that.
And Trevino is a coward.
Yeah, and he says, you know, from after what I've done, I'm going to hell. I'll save you a seat. And those were his last words.
Which were pretty poetic.
Yeah. What a beautiful show. I love the show so much. I'm so glad it's back.
Great show.
I'm so glad you ladies are back. I'm glad I'm back.
I'm excited. I'm so excited to see where it goes.
Well, we don't have any news and gossip, I don't believe, but I think we do probably have some time for some predictions. So why don't we do that? And Dorinda, why don't you start?
Well, I'm still sticking by what I'm going to say. Those documents are fake, and Elena's going to hate herself when she finds out. And then she's going to be pregnant. Ooh. Because that was...
Pregnant with a little cartel baby.
Ooh.
Cartel babies are the cutest, though. They're the cutest. They
Cartel babies are the cutest. Hashtag cartel babies.
Yes. What do you think?
I think she's going to find out that Nicholas was the reason that her brother was killed. I think she's going to overhear a conversation. Something's going to happen where she's going to find out, and she's going to really see what he's all about, and she's going to feel like an idiot, run back and kind of come clean to Christopher because she feels guilty, and that's going to ensue this whole kind of thing between the two of them, between the cartel and them.
I think there's going to be a bit of a flip, and I think that Elena is going to come back to the Ewing side. I feel like Pamela is definitely not. She's flipping those two characters are going to kind of flip their positions.
Ooh, maybe Nicholas and Pamela will get together.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think it'd be really hot. My worry is that I think that Anne is going to end up with Ryland by the end of the season, at least for a while. And I think that Sue Ellen at the end of the season, we're not going to know if she's dead or alive. I think that's going to be the end of it. Makes me nervous. We want to know your guys' predictions as well. Go ahead and tweet us. Use hashtag, what is it? Dallas ABTV. Until next time, let's go ahead and give our social media.
Okay, well, you guys can check me out at Instagram at DorindaB1 and on Twitter at Lula Cherry Films.
Awesome.
And you can find me on both at Kellie with an IE 079.
I just want to say it's so good to be back, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in each and every episode. We look forward to talking to you again next week. In the meantime, you can find me on social media, all social media, at _AJ Gibson. And also in select cities, check out my show on Fox, Hollywood Today Live. Yay! Check your local listings. Until next time, we are the crew of Dallas. Later, y'all.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz y'all later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.